Hey, family. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday. Are you guys having some tacos for Taco Tuesday? Or are you having something else? I don't know what the, I don't know what we're having yet. I'll figure it out shortly. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for hitting the like button as you come in. If you see this after I get off, thank you for the support and please hit that like button. So today's topic is red flags in a relationship. I know firsthand many people don't see or choose to ignore red flags in a relationship. Red flags are usually warning signs that a relationship um, may not be healthy, safe, or may not last long. They're called red for a reason because they demand attention. I think too often people ignore them because they want to hold on to those good moments. But ignoring red flags can lead to heartbreak, emotional abuse, or worse. I know many of us have been through that. We see the red flags, you know, and we choose to ignore them, thinking that things are going to get better or the person's going to change. Um, you know, hey, Jamaica, how are you? Yeah. So I want this to be a conversation. So if you're watching this live while I'm talking right now, please drop in the comments. Have you ever ignored a red flag because you hope things would get better? I know from experience, I definitely have. So I'm sure a lot of us have. And I also know people that definitely ignore red flags, just hoping that things are going to get better, that that person will change, you know? Red flags are behaviors, attitudes, or even actions that point towards potential problems in a relationship. It's very important to pay attention to those red flags because most of the time they do not change, they get worse. And eventually you'll be walking on eggshells in your relationship. So, you know, please, I hope this helps you out. They may not seem like a big deal in the beginning. For example, if your partner might get a little jealous if you're talking to someone else. At first, that jealousy might feel like they care about you, but later that cute jealousy can turn into control, accusations, or isolation. Yeah, me too, Jamaica. Me too. Yes, you can say something, Captain, but it has to be respectful, please. But sure, you're very welcome to say something. Yeah, so that cute little jealousy can sometimes turn into control, accusations, or even isolation. That's the danger of red flags. They start small, but they usually grow bigger. You think they're being jealous because they care for me, or they like me that much, or they love me that much. But then eventually the way you dress bothers them. who you hang out with bothers them. They start calling your friends whores, even though they really don't know them, you know? That your friend could be in a relationship or married. And just because of their jealousy, they see the worst in that person. And all of a sudden, they want to keep you away or even keep you away from family. So the please double tap the screen to like this live or hit the like button, whichever one's easier for you. Thank you. So the top red flags that I have realized, I think the top red flags are lack of communication, which, healthy relationships are built on open, honest conversations. If a partner avoids talking about feelings, shuts down during arguments or any conflicts, or always says, I don't want to talk about it, that's a red flag. You know, relationships, you should be able to have conversations about how you feel without it being be, without you being b- having like you're nagging or bothering them. Oh my goodness, those damn cars outside. For example, you try to discuss a problem and they ignore you or leave the room. Over time, nothing gets solved. And what happens? You start resenting them because you can't even talk to them. You can't even communicate with them, you know? So that resentment just builds and builds. Another red flag is controlling behavior. Control usually starts very slowly, subtle. Maybe they even comment on what you're wearing or who you're hanging out with, like I was saying before. Later, they might try to dictate where you go, how you live, or even what you believe. They try to make it seem like the way you think or how you feel or things like that are wrong and something's wrong with you. Oh, me too, Jamaica. And, that's good that you actually notice it, you know? Sometimes when there's red flags in people, and if you choose to have that, talk with them about how you're feeling, I think that should be number one because maybe they don't even realize. Sometimes people don't realize how they're acting or what they're doing. And sometimes having a conversation works. But if they're the person that doesn't see anything wrong in what they're doing, sometimes you have to distance yourself. I'm a person that all my life I've been the one that if I don't feel like if I don't feel comfortable anywhere, I will distance myself. It doesn't matter how long I known you. I could know you for 30 years. And if I just don't feel comfortable in like when I'm around you or your family or whatever, I'm the type that I keep a distance. You won't see me, you won't hear from me. Like I've always been known for that. Like people know when something's wrong because I stay away. And then they'll try to reach out, trying to hang out, and things are just not. No, I'm just not feeling it, and I'm not gonna be around that. For that, I be around myself. You know what I'm saying? Or find somebody else or other people to hang out with that I don't feel negative around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so sometimes they might try to dictate where you go, how you live, or even what you yeah, yep. That's how it has to be, because I'm sorry. I've had, friendships that sometimes, there's negative behavior, and even sometimes within their family. And, I'm not going to make the person choose their family over me, so I'll just keep a distance. And then my friend will keep calling and, like thinking that, you know, I don't know, like, because then they'll see me hanging out with somebody else and they'll think that I think I'm better or something. But it's no, I'm not. It's always negative around you and your family, and a lot of it is towards me when I didn't even do anything wrong. You know, so I choose to distance myself. Yeah, so they start getting that you know so they start trying to dictate where you go, how you live, whatever. So example, at first it's I don't like when you wear that. It's too revealing. But isn't that they most likely that's how they, you know, met you, wearing revealing things if you're the type to wear revealing things, or maybe just not revealing but tight clothing, tight jeans, or a nice shirt, show a crop shirt or something like that. But later it becomes you can't go out with your friends at all, because they have insecurity about themselves, you know but even though that's how they met you, well, that's not love, it's control. So far the top red flags are lack of communication and controlling behavior. The next one I think is jealousy and possessiveness. A little jealousy can be flattering sometimes, or at first I should say, because like I said, it makes you feel like they want you, feel like that they actually want to be with you and not anyone else. But constant suspicion or accusations are toxic. Jealousy often disguises itself as love. And you really have to watch out for that. Because as you can see in recent um, incidents, that jealousy can be deadly. So you have to be careful if you see that little bit of jealousy and it just starts increasing, and they start isolating you more and more. You have to watch you have to watch out. Oh yeah, I definitely know that. Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes they think whatever they say is, the way they think is correct, and everybody around them has to deal with it. Like, no, we don't have to deal with it. I have a friend for over, phew, damn, over 30 years. And yeah, I mean, I've known her since I was 5 years old. And literally every time I feel a certain way, I'll distance myself. If it's years, months, like when I feel something negative, I'll just distance myself. And eventually she'll come around and, call me and say, come on, like, you're my best friend and blah, blah, blah. And she'll steer me in again until the next incident. But one thing clear about me, that I don't deal with it for too long, and like I said, I will distance myself. And sometimes you have to distance yourself, and if they don't miss you, that means you did something right by distancing yourself or walking away. You know, I know sometimes it's hard, especially if they're the main person you talk to and things like that, you do feel like something's missing. But you have to learn how, yeah, you don't want to be, you want to be in peace and, be able to talk to somebody that actually listens, not just hears you, that actually listens and, has some empathy towards you or the situation at hand. Not that just what they're saying is the most important and that's it. Like, no, that's not how it goes. So in a relationship, jealousy, sometimes you could be just chatting with a coworker or just somebody, it could be somebody in your neighborhood and your partner might accuse you of cheating. That's not about love. That's about insecurity and control. Another red flag, ooh, disrespect. You know, respect, I think, is the foundation of every healthy relationship. If your partner dismisses your feeling, insults you, mocks you, if you tell them your dreams, they might not want to hear you, might not want to hear it or down talk you, they don't value you. Yep, definitely. Peace of mind. Sure. If I can't have peace of mind, I don't want anything. And anything, friendships, you know, relationships, anything. I just want peace, even with my freaking children. If I can't have peace and you're of a certain age, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's the Aries in me, if you believe in astrological signs, but I don't know if it's the Aries in me, but I could definitely, I'm good at distancing myself. Maybe too good, you know, but even with my child, my 24-year-old, sometimes he gets on my nerves and he tries to gaslight me and stuff like that. And I'll easily give him a break for a little while. Like, no, you don't rule me. Like, I need my peace. Don't come trying to bring your negativity to me. And, I'll give him a break. I'll make sure that he's okay and whatever, because I am his mother regardless. But if they make me feel a certain way, I'm distancing myself, especially if you're of age and you should know better. Exactly. You know, they think because they with you for years that they know you and or it's okay to treat you a certain way that you're gonna deal with it. Nope. Eventually people get tired, you know? I do know people that, even though they're tired, they stay. But I don't, I believe in being happy whether you're in a relationship or alone. And if it takes being alone to be happy, then do it. Trust me, you won't have any regrets, you know? And you'll show yourself how strong you actually are, you know? Because sometimes with the disrespect in a relationship, you tell them about a new career goal and they just laugh saying you could never do that. That's disrespectful. And that's why I say sometimes when it's over, you get that new career that you told them about and then you land up laughing in their face. Like, "Oh yeah, you said I could never do that. Now look at me now." Right? And of course, the most common thing people talk about now, the gaslighting, you know? Gaslighting is emotional manipulation. It's when your partner makes you question your memory, your feelings, or even your sanity. You know, for example, you confront them for lying. Instead of admitting it, what do? They say try to call you crazy, or you're making this up, or you're too sensitive. The goal of gaslighting is to make you doubt yourself so they can avoid accountability. No one wants to freaking hold themselves account. They never want to hold themselves accountable for the stuff that you know they did, and they won't admit it. So what they'll do, make you feel crazy. Like you're just seeing things, or feeling things. You're too sensitive. No, you're not. You're just seeing through their BS. And then another red flag is dishonesty. Dishonesty and broken trust. Trust is the glue of a relationship. If your partner is always lying, even with stupid small little things, how can you trust them with the bigger ones? You know, they lie about where they were, who they were with, or even something as simple as what they ate. If lying becomes a habit, that trust slowly dies. You know people that in their relationship, they would say they're going to work, and then instead of working, they're at the club, or they're at a restaurant with friends or whatever. Like, why lie? Why you couldn't just say that you were gonna go meet up with some friends and hang out? Why lie saying you was working? Like, come on, better than that. And now, how can I trust you? Hey, Raw, how are you, sis? Just talking about some red flags in relationships. Red flags, red flags. A lot of people love to ignore those red flags. Think they're with the best person in the world, and all of a sudden when you break up with them, that's when you want to talk about all the red flags, and you know yeah, definitely. Doesn't the narcissist? Oh god, that's a big one too. You can hear everything outside my window. Exactly. Yep. No trust in a relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic, it would not last. That is so true. And of course, they like to love bomb you. That over the top affection early on can feel flattering, but it may be a tactic to just gain that quick emotional control. So, Roa asked, what was the last straw for you, and how long were you two married, Jamaica? Because he sounds like a narcissist, she said, which sounds about right. Sounds about right. Yes, Roa, true. I think it is too, and just seeing everything that's been going on, not only on social media, but in real life, you know, people need to learn the red flags and how to deal with it, and learn that it is okay to walk away, when you see the red flags, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, a romantic relationship, you have to learn these red flags and learn to walk away as well. Even though, it's not easy. Because, like I said, you think they're going to change, you think things are going to change, but most of the time they don't. And when is too long to stop dealing with it? You definitely have to put in raw truth. You definitely have to put a plan into place. But Jamaica says she was with her husband for 16 years, and yep, he was a narcissist. She got tired of the gaslighting and the manipulation, which turned into physical. Yep, sounds about right. Did he try to isolate you from your family and friends? That's usually how it is too in those kind of relationships, you know? The lack of accountability. They always, they never apologize. They always blame others. They refuse to take responsibility for their actions. People definitely need to pay attention to that. 3 strikes and you were out. But 16 years, that was a long time to deal with that. But I'm glad you were able to leave. Most people don't leave, especially they don't get to leave with their sanity. Another red flag is their inconsistent behavior. The hot and cold affection, unpredictable moods, or sudden withdrawals. That can signal the emotional manipulation. They call you their soulmates one day, then disappear or stop talking to you without explanation. Like healthy love is consistent. Confusing love, it just drains you. It drains your energy. So you need to pay attention to that. And what else do? They ignore your boundaries. Boundaries are about self-respect. If your partner mocks your boundaries, pressures you, or ignores them, that is definitely a red flag. Okay, the last 3 years of your marriage. All right. So you didn't deal with it long. That's good. Wow. So I wonder what changed that he started the last 3 years. Sometimes you just get tired of the crap and you just freaking decide to walk away regardless how, you know. you feel like you're not going to be able to move on or whatever. But sometimes you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired, especially if they're putting hands on you. So Raw Truth says, Jamaica, 16 years. Wow, that's a very long time. How were you able to walk away? I know it's hard to walk away after so long. Where did you go as well? And did you guys have kids together? So ignoring boundaries, like I was saying. So sometimes you say you need space, but they show up anyway, or you say no intimacy, but they keep pushing. You tell them you're not in the mood, but they keep pushing, thinking that you're obligated to show them some affection or intimacy when you're just not in the mood, especially if they were treating you bad that day. But they think because they think you're their possession, so they think that they can have you whenever they want, whenever they want you. And that's not how it is. They should, don't ignore boundaries. They shouldn't be ignoring your boundaries. And then they want to blame shift. They want to blame stuff on you. A partner who never admits when they're wrong and always blames others will never take accountability, because they always want to be the one that's in the right. And that's not how it goes. They cheat, but somehow it's your fault because you weren't giving them attention, or you were talking too much, nagging too much, you know. Healthy people own their mistakes. Toxic people blame everyone else. Hey, welcome in, whoever just came in. How are you? Happy Tuesday. Please double tap the screen or hit the thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. That's free 99 to support. Free 99. So Jamaica said he started staying out all night, even till the next day cheating. Psh, I tried to make it work, but got tired. I got an apartment, moved out, and yes, he had one child. I prayed to God for strength. And yes, we had one child, sorry. Okay. So you weren't financially dependent on him? You were already working? Because I know you're a nurse, right? So did you already have your career so you weren't financially dependent on him? Because I know when you're financially dependent on somebody, it makes it harder to leave. And I don't know if anybody that's listening has saw my previous live. If not, please watch that because I was talking about toxic relationships as well. So please watch my previous live because I did talk about that. But I do love and encourage people to be strong, and when enough is enough, have the strength to walk away. Okay, Jamaica. Yeah, that's why I'm reading it because I didn't know, you might be working or something and can't look at the screen. Oh, you was working and going to school. That's good. But you wasn't financially dependent on him because you was working. So that's good. That's why also sometimes no matter how comfortable they may make you feel, it is always good to have your own finances because then, you don't feel so pressured to stay. And, when you do want to leave, that you're not worried about how you're going to figure things out and stuff like that, or where you're going to go. So I always say have your own finances, you know, and even if you're not working and they give you money, put some money aside into your own account. you know think about just in case. No, it's not being negative, you're just looking out for yourself in the long run. So why you think people ignore red flags? Even when we see red flags, many of us stay. Why? And like I said in my last live, it's fear of being alone. Some people would rather have a toxic relationship than no relationship. I've never been like that. It's so easy. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing, like I said, but it's so easy for me to walk away from things that don't, serve me. I just walk away once I'm not feeling it. Um, but some people love relationships, and they want to stay, then they stay no matter what. Or they hope they'll change, the person will change. We hold on to the good moments and believe the bad behavior is almost is that we believe that the bad behavior is temporary. Yeah, fear of starting over and being alone. Yep. I I mean, and a lot of people do deal with that, but I'm glad that I've always been strong enough to be able to be alone, because I don't know. I'd rather be, like I said, I'd rather be alone than be unhappy. And when you have kids, you have to think about them as well. They're more important than how you feel. You know, they don't need to see that toxicity in your relationship, whether it's with their parent or not, you know? And low self-esteem sometimes could be the reason also. If you don't feel worthy of better, you may tolerate mistreatment. But believe me, your low self-esteem, they see that and they take advantage of that low self-esteem, you know? And believe me, there's always somebody out there better if you, you know, willing to make that move and leave. And then the trauma bonding is another one. When abuse is mixed with the affection, it creates that cycle that's, oh my God, so hard to break. Trauma bonding is, whew, that will keep you with somebody for so long. That's good, Jamaica. I'm glad you found love again. Yep, that's what I said. Oh yeah, financial dependency. Yep, it will make you stay for a long time. Thank you, Jamaica. I greatly appreciate it. I love it. I love your support. Thank you. Um, so oh my God, people in New York are so you hear the honking of the horns? They're impatient. They want to hurry up to the red light. Um, so how to respond to red flags? If you notice red flags, you should acknowledge them instead of brushing them off. Communicate your concerns, set boundaries, and see if they're respected. Seek support from friends, family, counseling, whatever you can do. And know when to walk away, because staying often makes the situation worse. Again, know when to walk away, because staying often makes the situation worse. Everything that's going on now with people's mental and stuff. I'm so scared for people that choose to stay, because you never know when that day is your last day, because you kept staying, and that's very important. Learn to walk away. Walking away is not a weakness, it's encourage, it's courage. And like I said, you'll realize how strong you are when you walk away and you succeed at the things you never thought were possible to succeed. When you get that job after you thinking that you can get that job, when you get that apartment or house that you thought you couldn't get, you get a career that you didn't think that you didn't imagine, when your kids are thriving even though you left, you know, you realize your strength. So how do you think um how do you leave when it's no longer good for you? Leaving isn't just walking away, it's about reclaiming your peace. So I think this is some things that you can do to learn how to leave. I mean, it might not be quick, but I hope it can be quick. But I know if you are financially dependent on somebody, it could take a little longer. But please, as soon as it gets violent, walk away. Because, like I said, that might be your last day. So, validate your feelings. You don't need a dramatic reason to leave. If you're unhappy, exhausted, feel unsafe, that's enough. Build a support system. Talk to trusted friends, family, or even a therapist. Don't be embarrassed to see a therapist. And don't listen to people that say they don't go to a therapist. What you need a therapist for? Get you a therapist. You don't have to do this alone. Make a plan, especially if you live together or share finances or don't have any finances and depend on them. Plan your exit carefully, but remember, safety is first. Set boundaries, be clear and firm. You don't owe anyone endless explanations or second chances or third chances or fourth chances or you don't owe anybody anything. You have to just be clear and firm and strong. you know you expect those emotional waves, grief, guilt, relief, they all come and go, but let them. Healing isn't straight, isn't linear. you know you're gonna have those highs and lows, the depressed feelings, but you know what, eventually after that you're gonna feel like, wow, I survived that, I did that. you know and of course, rediscover yourself. Reconnect with hobbies, goals, and people who make you feel whole. You know, get that new hairdo, get those new clothes, make yourself feel good. Go on that trip that you were holding off for because they didn't like traveling. Just do it. Just do it. But therapy, yes, therapy. Having someone to talk to and someone that doesn't judge you can be great. And I'm glad, Jamaica, that therapy helped you. I know a lot of people that therapy have helped, you know, and sometimes you need it. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you strong that you were able to seek help. So, if you're in a situation that feels unsafe or abusive, or, please consider reaching out to your local support organization or hotline. You deserve safety, respect, and love that lifts you, not love that weighs you down. And also another way, I think, if you don't want to talk to somebody, get a journal and just write your life away, write your feelings away. Journaling can help, but I really hope that you would be able to find at least one person that you feel comfortable talking with, because sometimes that conversation does feel better because you're talking to a real person, and you can go back and forth about your feelings. and just open up to that person. And don't be afraid to cry, because crying, it does feel good. Hey, Jazzy, how are you, girl? Thanks for coming by. I was talking about red flags in a relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic. Usually, when you talk about red flags, people automatically think romantic relationships, but there's red flags in any relationship, whether it's friendship, romantic, family, you know, they're just all around. And how important it is to notice the red flags and how to deal with them, you know? But yeah, I'm 46 minutes in already. So if you missed it, please catch the replay. And I also, in my last live, I talked about toxic relationships. So that was another good one. Please double tap the screen to like this live. Yes, toxic people everywhere. Like I was saying, not only in these social media streets, but in real life, all these things that are happening, with mental health and people not knowing how to deal with their emotions. You have to catch those red flags. You know, Staying is not an option anymore because you have to worry about yourself. You know You have to worry about yourself, because if you don't worry about yourself, nobody's going to worry about you. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want that day to be your last day, because all these things going on, especially what happened in Chicago and stuff like that. And to know that I don't care how it happened, honestly. I just know like, why it happened, because I think it was uncalled for no matter what. Regardless if, jealousy, this, that, I think it was uncalled for. Unaliving anybody is uncalled for. You could easily just ignore the person, don't go around the person, don't look on their social media, block them, everything. There's no reason to unalive anybody. And if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, you need to seek help. Hey, Ryan. How are you? Yes, mental health is definitely real, you know? And, whether it was the guy playing both sides or whatever, all three of them needed to learn how to deal with their emotions, because a lot of that could have been avoided. But that's life. And that's why it's important to notice the red flags and be able to walk away, you know? Yeah. So please double tap the screen, guys. Double tap the screen to like this live. Hit the thumbs up, whichever one's easier for you. I appreciate everybody passing by. I've been on almost an hour. Guys need to turn on your notifications so you don't miss it, you know? But I still had to talk, even though even one of my people went live. But with so many of you guys supporting, so many of you guys, it's so hard to, choose when to go live or not to go live. So I've been noticing that sometimes you just got to do it, because if you don't do it, then you never come around to it. Especially when you're trying to support so many people, you know? So you just got to fit in where you get it. You have to get in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Hassan, how are you? Yes, Ryan. You have to hold yourself accountable for actions and issues. Seek help. Yep, exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, sometimes you have to turn it off and then turn it back on, the notifications. I had to do that a few times. YouTube be tripping. YouTube be tripping. Yeah, but no, it's true. Like earlier, I mean, last night especially, there was like freaking 10 people that I support on live. So I'm freaking having to go through everybody's thing. Well, I don't have to, but I choose to, you know? I choose to support you guys. So I go from chat to chat, but I'm also a moderator in some of them, like a real moderator, like, um, that actually have to deal with the trolls and the things like that. So, so I'm in those chats kind of longer because I'm a real moderator there. So, but like right now, the person I mod for is online right now. She went on like 2 minutes right after I did, but I had to keep going, you know. But she knows I love her, and I'll be there after this. Especially when you know they're gonna be on for an hour or two or three or four. It's okay to, I have to water myself. Yeah, it can get draining, but I try, you know. I just try to support, you know, and I still do my thing in between. Whether I'm online, I'm still cooking, I'm still cleaning, I'm still going to the grocery store, I'm still going, I'm still doing my thing. I'm still freaking going on those interviews, I'm still applying to those jobs, I'm still doing. But yeah, but yeah, you always got to water yourself before you water anybody else because, you know, nobody's gonna water you but yourself most of the time. I think it's in the 70s. It's not cold at all, but it's not hot. Like I don't know. It's just cool because it's breezy too. It's good weather. This is my kind of weather. Oh yeah, you coming to visit Jersey? But it's nice because over here we have bipolar weather. So it could be hot until November. So and to us northerners, we're hot until it's like in the 40s. Then we'll get a little cold. As long as we could wear a sweater outside, we're good. Now, Hassan just be in everybody's chat. He ain't a troll. We actually, I've actually seen him on a panel. So Hassan's cool, but he do be in every sector. He be around. Jazzy, North Carolina has bipolar weather too. I thought you only have cold or hot. That's it. Or of course rain. Oh Lord, always something with these damn sirens, right? Especially like I said, I live on a main avenue, so you're gonna always hear the shit. Yeah, I be seeing Hassan everywhere. I met him from a certain sector, but now that I'm in others, I see him there too. I'm like, damn, Hassan be getting around. But he's cool. He's cool. And what I like about him is that he doesn't really get like if it's a sector that has issues or whatever, he's not like on a side. He's really neutral. So that's good about him. And I think that's why he's welcome so much. What's everybody doing today? Everybody's working, out of work. I hear that. I definitely hear that. Well, I didn't start this YouTube. I never even was on YouTube like that until I got in a certain section, sector, being nosy, and from then on, it's been what I don't even know. My goodness, it's probably been almost 3 years already now, or maybe like 2.5 years. But the shit still going on in that sector. But then I met, like Yo Yo and Chip and stuff like that. And that's how met a lot of you guys, you know? And it's Fuzzy Jazzy came from the same sector really as I, but yeah. But I met her in the other one, but I met her in, where I met a lot of you guys. Oh, okay, Jazzy. That's what's up. That's what's up. But yeah. So you gotta water yourself before you water anybody else. And with everybody going live all at different times, sometimes, like I said, you just have to throw yourself in there, because then you'll never grow your channel like you want to do, you know? So sometimes you just gotta ignore that other people are on live, or and just do it. Jump on. Jackson's good. I'll be picking him up in a little while. He's good. He's doing good. He's doing real good. His behavior is good at school. He's a little active here, but it is what it is. As long as he's doing good in school, I'm good. You know, he's learning. He's learning the way he should. I'm proud of him. And then I got my other one in college. I'm proud of him. He makes sure that he gets up and, I don't have to, like I used to have to in high school and all that. I have to make sure that he's waking up and shit. No, he wakes up on his own. He gets up, he gets dressed. He's getting more responsible. So thank goodness for that. You know, it's not easy, but we're doing it. Yeah, I do post shorts. I mean, not as much as I used to, but I do post shorts. I do. Yesterday I posted what I was cooking and it already got 1K views. It already got 1K views. Ryan, I have a 24-year-old, a 17-year-old. Well, he's about to be 18 on the 27th. That's the one that goes to college. And then my little 5-year-old. I'm crazy. I started over. Ah. I thought I found love and I started over. Yeah, but no. Yeah, I posted a short yesterday and it got 1K views already. So yeah, I do be, and sometimes when I'm out shopping, I do my little shorts and stuff like that. I know. Unless you go looking, sometimes it's hard. Like they don't like your shorts and stuff don't pop up. Sometimes I have to go scrolling to see you guys' stuff. Hit that like button, please. Double tap the screen, whichever one's easier for you. That's the best way to support the channel. Since I am not monetized, liking it helps me out. Hitting the hearts help me out. It pushes the video out, and since this is a good topic, then I think it's very helpful. The red flags I'm not just talking about my life and or doing my daily walks or whatever. So I think this live should be pushed out, because some people just need that help to realize what red flags are, and how to walk away, how to learn to how to walk away, I should say. Have anybody been, I know there was a couple of people that said they were in relationships, um, and that they stayed even through the red flags. But has there been anybody else that has stayed in a relationship even though the red flags were clear? Or were you in a relationship and you saw the red flags and decided to leave? How long did it take? Hey, Roxy. Welcome in, girl. Welcome in, lady. I love your videos. I love your dancing. You got the moves. You got the voice and you got the moves. I love it. You're definitely doing great at raising them grandbabies, you know? So shout out to Roxy. Yeah, Raw. See, they don't be coming up to everybody. You got to go searching. But yes, thank you. Thank you. I have a few of them, you know? It is what it is. Just gaining people, gaining supporters genuinely. So sometimes it's slower when you're not into I could easily get into the negative stuff and gain my followers fast, but I'm trying to, you know, I mean, sometimes you have to talk about trending topics and it is what it is. But, you know what I'm talking about. I really don't want to, especially if I haven't got into what we be looking at in almost 3 years. Like, I'm not, why talk about it now? I feel like I'm all late. Like, I should have been talked about it if I wanted to be in it. But some people have to stop bullying people. I hate bullies. I really do hate bullies. But that's another topic for another day. Yeah, Jazzy, sometimes it takes a minute to see those red flags and learn how to walk away or get tired and walk away. You think you're going to change them or they're going to change on their own or they love you so much that they're going to change and bullshit. They love themselves more, you know? Sometimes you gotta, especially if it ever gets physical. You walk away. Like I don't know if you guys know, but Jackson's dad, he put his arms around me once, his hands around me once, and that was the last day of our relationship. It literally took only one time. And I believe it was because I was already in my, my late 30s. So I was already strong and smart enough to know that that's not love. And I walked away the first time he got mad at me and he decided to try to choke me out while I had Jackson in my hands, and Jackson was only a year old. That was the last time, that first and the last time that man touched me. Yeah, I don't play that shit. Thank you, Jamaica. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Please double tap the screen, like the like button. That's the best way to support for free. If you would like to support my Cash App, it is $ B as in boy X QUEEN the letter C. BX Queen C. Yeah, so if you guys see red flags, run. No, don't just jog. Run. Run away fast. Realize that you deserve better and you'll be better. Whether, like I said, whether you're financially dependent, make a plan. You gotta go. You gotta go. And trust me, when you see that you can succeed without them, you're going to feel so good about yourself. And when you see your kids thriving in a better environment, you're going to be so proud of yourself, you know? So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here. If you listen to this after, please share your experience in the chat or the comments. Let me know, have you been there? What have you done? Maybe you're still there and you don't know what to do. You want to ask questions. Please do so. We've talked about the most common red flags: lack of communication, controlling behavior, jealousy, disrespect, gaslighting, dishonesty, isolation, inconsistency, boundary violations, and blame shifting and love bombing. Remember to rediscover yourself, reconnect with those hobbies, those goals, you know, trips, vacations, people, anything to make you feel whole again. You know, the key takeaway is this: red flags are not decorations, they're warnings. Don't ignore them. And I hope you get to leave safe. Find that person to talk to, journal if you have to. But thank you all for joining me tonight, today. If you found this conversation helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you are worthy of love that uplifts, not love that destroys. You deserve that friendship that, is respectful. So even in friendships, if your friend doesn't respect you, it's time to walk away. If you can have a conversation without, you know, them saying that you're nagging or that they don't, see you for what you're saying, it's easy to walk away. But thanks again, guys, for being here. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.